Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We're tonight's entertainment. I only have one question. Where's my crypto?
Welcome. A new episode of the Forbidden Podcast thing, crypto podcast, and we have our guest star Sky here back with us. Thank you, Sky, for joining us. How you
Thanks
doing?
for having me. I'm doing great. How are you doing?
Yeah, great. We've been kind of looking at what's going on with the Putin, Vladimirovich Putin, and the whole Ukraine invasion, and it's just like nuts, right? Yeah.
Yeah, what do you think about it? What's your take on it?
My take is Ukraine in 1 week, and then 13 other former Soviet republics are next.
Okay, yeah, it could happen. I'm not sure how much would really change if they were independent or not, but yeah.
Well, they obviously, if you look, I just listened to Zelensky, who's the Ukraine's president. They are very proud of their independence, and the whole thing they achieved by separating themselves from the USSR. But now Vladimir doesn't think so. It's a good idea anymore. And so we're gonna see what's gonna happen in the next few weeks. But I think it's pretty kind of obvious to me. Like, the guy is Putin is he's nuts, and he's basically just playing everyone. If you just look at their statements, they're just the US comes out, the White House comes out with we know everything you're doing, we have all the intelligence, we know exactly how you're gonna attack and everything, and he's just what are you talking about? We're just dancing on the Ukraine border with 100,000 soldiers. And so now it started, and I think, honestly, Ukraine, kudos to Zelensky and all these people, glory to Ukraine, but I give you a week, okay?
Yeah, if that.
Yeah.
The only reason it would be more than that is if NATO forces went into Ukraine, which I don't think they want to start World War III. And I think that's basically what this is all about, right? Putin knows that they're not going to start a war. So he's going to go in and take it.
Exactly. So I think everyone is playing we just want to respect people's rights, and it's all this 21st century kind of LGBTQ plus bullshit, and everyone has to have their rights and so on. And then Vladimir shows up and says I want USSR back, and that's basically step number one. Step number two, I want Europe. Okay. And so I think this is a start of something really crazy, really big. It's just I have no idea where it's gonna take everyone, but it's definitely, to me, it's clear that he has $200 billion of cash. So like that's a lot of money, man.
Wait, what's the 200 billion in cash? Vienna, did you say?
No, that's Putin. Like Putin, basically, he doesn't have anything in his name, but the oligarchs, the close ones to him, they own, each owns like a part of the $200 billion. So they have like a bunch of cash, okay? And like when Biden shows up and say, we're gonna do the first tranche of sanctions, like he's basically like laughing and like basically just pissing on the globe, like basically, okay, this is Ukraine, let me take a piss here, and then next Belarus, let me take a piss there, and then Latvia, oh yeah, you're gonna go down too. and then 11 others, and then it's USSR all over again, and then that's not gonna be the end of it, man. I'm just thinking, like he's thinking of the former Russian Empire, man, and that's scary, dude. That's really scary.
Why? Why is that scary? This is the Slavic fucking world being rebuilt to its former grandeur, and you are, in that area of the world right now.
Yeah, I gotta get the fuck out of here, man. That's the first thing I thought. It's just like, gotta get the fuck out of here, dude. Like, this guy is nuts, man, and he means business. So yeah, so that's for Loot Prestige, and this is Sky, our guest star. I don't know if I introduced us, but right now we did. And I'm just like thinking of how to escape as soon as possible, basically.
Right, and a big part of that is going to be crypto, right? I think really that's the interesting thing about all of this, is that when we had this period of geopolitical stasis relatively between China, Russia, and the United States, and like this low interest rates, this low interest rate regime, basically, the crypto thesis was as bullish as possible, right? But in an age where there's war and governments start getting more control and people give them that control because they're afraid of war, and then crypto can hurt, right? Like if the Fed increases interest rates rapidly, they still control the flow of a lot of value, and they can pull a lot of value into dollar-based assets, right? As opposed to crypto. So that's a tough thing. The question is, are they going to do that, right? And I think it goes beyond just Russia, but it's also China, because Russia was formerly basically indebted to the Fed, right? And China helped free them from that restraint, and now Russia is very powerful again on the world stage, and they're flexing that muscle. And the States is relatively weaker, right? The Federal Reserve Empire, whatever you want to call it, the Western, what they call the West, which is basically the Western banking establishment and its vassals. But if there's war or something, that's crazy. That changes things a ton. Totally. Because if war wouldn't really be if all the value, I should say, flowed from fiat currencies like the dollar, ruble, yuan, whatever, renminbi, whatever you want to call it, into crypto, then these wars would not be possible because nobody would fund them. But these wars are possible, and the entire infrastructure.
But they could fund them with crypto, right?
Possibly, but it's kind of like if you've done research on I don't know the exact article, but it was in the 1919 American Economic Review. They talked about the amount of money that was freed up to spend on World War I because they had the central bank. because they had the Fed, right? The Federal Reserve System allowed the United States to spend like 70% more on the First World War.
Yeah, but that's where I see the even greater danger with crypto is because there's no central bank. It's all your money, man, and you can do whatever you want. And if you have 200 billion of crypto, that's scary, man. Like there's because there's no one there to say, you know, you cannot take like 1 billion today, okay? You have to tell us in advance and we're gonna see if we're gonna give it. You can't take 1 billion like in a day with crypto, no problem. And that's fucking scary, man. Like if a nut job like Vladimir does that, that's fucking scary.
Yeah, but is it scarier than like? I mean, the thing is with the central bank system, the people who control the central banks can take anything they want at will. It's like, oh, here's $4.5 trillion. We just took it. Whatever.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so like, why? I fail to see why it's more dangerous.
Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah, I'm just maybe I'm thinking from the perspective of Vladimir that no one knows, because I'm basically Putin can get his money no problem. That's like whenever he wants. It's just like I'm actually scared of the nouveau riche in crypto, the Putin in the nouveau riche in crypto, you know, because this kind of person can also get ideas, you know, from Vladimir and basically just buy a bunch of like nuclear weapons, you know, and you know, like I don't even want to think like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I see. But for some reason, I just don't know. Like, I think, you know, it's like if you have this giant honeypot of everybody's money, and then you give control over that to, you know, whoever owns the central bank.
Mm-hmm.
That's fucking crazy because like it's proven to have caused wars in the past, you know. Without that, like, yeah, there could be some crazy vigilante or whatever who's like, yeah, I've got 200 billion in crypto. I'm gonna buy some nuclear weapons, but you know,
yeah,
is that gonna be like? It's just money. Like it's just money. They don't have the infinite spigot of credit that they control. You know what I mean? Like that is just like, it's like, yeah, they're powerful, but what happens when they spend the money? You know, then they don't have it anymore.
Yeah, but the question is like how much money? Like I think 200 billion is totally enough to like basically burn Earth. You know, and like just as I said, like basically. Vladimir is basically like everyone knows his face, everyone knows his name, like they can kill him basically if he gets too crazy. Like the problem is with the Satoshi Putin, you know, like who nobody fucking knows who that guy is, and if he gets like Vladimir's kind of ideas, that's extremely dangerous, you know. You can buy a lot of, you can basically blow up the whole Earth. Like the crypto nouveau riche, if they wanted to, they can blow up the Earth, okay?
But why would they want to do that?
Because there are people, have you heard of misanthropy? Like, there are people who just hate everything and everyone, okay? and they just want to see the world burn. And,
Right. But like, why those people would be the same people that were running the States and the Soviet Union decades ago when they actually could easily do this as well. Like they had all the nukes and some people wanted to, I guess, but it never happened.
yeah.
So what do we do about it then? What do we do about it?
I'm just like searching for tickets to Mars, basically. You know?
Yeah. Well, that would be
It's not too expensive now, thanks to Mr. Musk, and also he'll bald-headed, kind of envious, whatever, warm brother, Bezos. Like they made it affordable, so I think I'm gonna head out, man. You know, like you know, like you you guys deal with Vladimir and the crypto noirish, and I'm gonna like I like my life, you know. I don't want to die because of like some kind of crazy person, like, you know, was abused as a child. Like, why? You know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess at a minimum, you can escape Eastern Europe to a different part of the world. Where are you thinking of going?
Oh, I'm certainly not going to say that publicly.
You can give a general region. I don't think they're going to hunt you down.
Yeah. So okay. My view is the following: everything that's former USSR territory plus Europe plus China. Because China is basically right now they're just like basically okay Vladimir, like we gave you the money, why don't you talk to the Zelensky and like deal with it, okay? Like get drunk and like sing some fucking Russian songs and folk songs, and like you know, go hunt a bear and it's gonna be fine. And the thing is like, Vladimir is like not interested, okay? I don't give a fuck. And like right now, that's the China stance. Like they basically they're being nice. And once the you know, the Vladimir, you know, like a couple weeks in the future, they're not gonna be so nice anymore. And plus you have the US. And the whole NATO thing, and then like I just want to get the fuck out of there, man. Like the whole USSR, Europe, China territory, get the fuck, like the farthest point on Earth of that. That's what I'm gonna Google like right now. What is the farthest fucking point of that also has a good airport, okay? Yeah, so that's where I'm gonna head out, okay? And basically just gonna watch the news and work on my Mars ticket, okay? So that's how I'm gonna spend my next weeks, basically. Like just gonna get the fuck out of here, like assign an attorney to sell my apartment and go there and like basically like get rid of all the shit I don't need, like basically have one suitcase and one like you know, just basically bag, and that's how I'm gonna live. And in this place that is the farthest away from the nukes they're gonna like activate, and I'm just gonna basically email Musk and Bezos and whoever, like what's that guy's name, like the Virgin guy, Branson. Yeah, I'm gonna email those three people and say like, when's the next flight? I'm buying the ticket. And yeah, so then I have to work on also the next thing I want to work on is how to basically make it possible for me to breathe on Mars and to kind of like get some nutritious food. And like basically that's my next interest. Okay.
So you're gonna be like Matt Damon in The Martian, trying to fucking grow a little bit of, lettuce on Mars.
Yeah, totally, man. And, I looked at these like self-contained like ecosystems, like where you can grow shit, like kind of in a very isolated way, and I think that's totally possible. And just gotta talk to these guys, maybe they have some engineers that can help me, like some kind of like agricultural experts and like some kind of I don't know, like I just need like one bitch and like food, and like I can go to Mars. I can be the first human.
Okay, but see, there's the problem, because if you want your bitch to be a Russian bitch, well, that's going to be a problem for you, isn't it? Because how are you going to get her now that you're going far away from Russia?
That's the whole point. I don't want a Russian bitch. I don't.
Oh no.
I don't,
okay.
Man. Yeah, she's gonna send me Vladimir there, man. Like I don't fucking want that. Okay. I'm done with Russian bitches.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. No, sorry, you are too crazy. Okay. The Russian bitches, like I announced publicly, I consider you too fucking crazy. I don't want to have anything to do with you. Okay. Like go find your oligarchs and like I don't know, like new slaves and new territories. Like do whatever you want. Like I don't want to be a part of that. Thank you.
Interesting. All right, this is quite a radical shift from Le Prestige here.
It's still Le Prestige. It's just like basically Le Prestige reacting to the nut job called Vladimir. Okay? Because like I just basically I think like all psychologists would agree, like this is what happens to a guy that has $200 billion and sits at home for 2 years because of COVID. Okay? That's what happens to you. Okay? Like you get crazy.
So, let's see here.
Yeah.
What does this mean for decentralized finance?
Yeah, man. I don't know. I really don't.
I don't know.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know.
Steven. The hair was there. Steven. Is your name Steven? I don't know. Steven. The hair was there. I don't know. That's the thing, man. That's the thing. If that's exactly how Vladimir will answer. Like, if they ever catch him alive, like there will be a guy from Georgia like sitting with him, like and saying like, "Okay, Putin, the hair was there." Your hair was there. Okay.
What decade? Because he doesn't have any hair anymore.
Yeah, I mean they're gonna like whatever. They're gonna find something else. Your pubic hair was there.
Oh man, it brings up a good point though. Like we got a good thing going here. I mean, like whatever. We know that the world is a hierarchy and the U.S. is an empire and whatever. The bankers pretty much run it and some wealthy families. But like, hey, life is good, right? I mean, it's like better that than the Ruskies just taking all your money and fucking turning the world to shit, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, yeah, like whatever, but you know, like the people that are running America, it's like, you know, we're rich as fuck and we basically can do whatever we want, but you know, as long as you're not completely fucking us over, you can do whatever you want too. And that's great. There's a lot of freedom in this world, especially as, you know, people like us have a little bit of capital.
You know, Josip Broz Tito, like the
Yugoslav dictator.
Yeah, exactly. So there's a funny joke about him, and basically it goes like this: like they were criticizing him like about his like ruling and so on, and then he was like what the fuck are you talking about? Like give me a specific example. Okay, so Sir Tito, in the U.S. you can go out like in front of the White House and make a protest against the U.S. president and like talk bad shit about him, and like everything is gonna be fine. Like, you know, it's a free country. You have your right to your opinion and so on. Like, you know, that's how we roll. You know, like you should have that too. And he's like, Tito, he's like, well, we have that already. Like, you can't come to my country, Yugoslavia, and find like whatever the equivalent of White House in Yugoslavia was back then, and basically make a protest to against American president. And you can talk bad shit about the American president in Yugoslavia in front of the White House of Yugoslavia, and nobody will touch you. Okay, so you know that was his answer basically, and that's basically it captures, I think, the stance and the mindset of these. I wouldn't even call them dictators, but like basically tyrants. You know, like yeah. It's just basic. It's me, and whoever like is heard or seen or kind of investigated for telling bad things about me, he will either immediately be shot or at least like put in some kind of a really like a high security prison, so he or she can not do that anytime, anywhere again. And that's basically like how they roll, you know, like whoever tells to anyone anything, or like let alone protest, like just shoot the guy right away. Or like there are 1,000 people protesting, just shoot them all right there, and like that's 1,000 of enemies gone. And like make sure it's like publicized and like everyone knows like that's gonna happen to them too if they do that. So that's the type of people we're talking about here.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, that's basically the way it works, you know? I think it's just a matter of recognizing that and acting accordingly. Like, you'd be amazed at how many people you're like, by the way, like, you know, the people that are running the government or the country or whatever, like, they don't give a shit about you. And they're like, what? No way, that's too conspiratorial. And it's like, are you a fucking idiot? Like, the only evidence you have is literally all around you, everywhere, in every country for the entirety of human history. Like, is that not enough for you? Like, what else do you need, you know? They're like, no, but the dirty capitalists, those capitalist bastards. If we just gave all the power to the government, they'd take the money from the capitalists and give it to us.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, you're a fucking smart one. You're really smart.
Yeah. I mean, Jesus. Like, without the private sector, man. Like, just imagine U.S. without the private sector, man. Just imagine that for a second.
That's basically Russia, huh?
Exactly. It would be, Yeah, it would
Welcome
be
to
United
Mother
States
Russia.
of Russia. United States of Russia on one side of the pond, and then the other side of the pond. You have like a bunch of, which is basically like, okay, so you have the Russian oligarch equivalent would be like what? Musk and Bezos and Gates and like this basically the Forbes what is it, like top 30 richest Americans, like that's basically equivalent of Russian oligarchs in the US, right? Yeah, and then you have like, but US luckily doesn't have a Vladimir. They have like US has basically a bunch of bankers, okay? The Rothschilds, the Rockefellers, the JP Morgans, and like the other guys, like that you don't basically, they are not exposing themselves as Vladimir. And
Yeah.
right?
Yes, you are
Yeah.
correct, comrade.
And there's also Soros, right? Or should I say Georgi Schwartz? Let's be very specific, okay? Georgi Schwartz, the Hungarian Jew who was basically put by his father into another family. His father basically took all his children, and he basically like put them in different families so that he ensures or increases the chances of survival against Adolf, okay? And so Georgi Schwartz basically ends up in the US. He changes his name into Soros, and that George Soros is actually Georgi Schwartz, who is basically meeting with the Pentagon guy and the Fed guy and the Carlyle Hotel, and they basically spin the globe, and like wherever the finger lands, they're just like, let's see. All right, who is the? Basically, they make the triangle. They make the triangle, which is basically the U.S. and NATO is always the savior, and then there's there's always a bad guy, which is now Vladimir. Okay, Vladimir, and there's always the victim, which is currently it's Ukraine. Tomorrow it's going to be Belarus. The other day it's going to be Latvia, and so on. And basically, it's just really good theater for the markets, for basically the earth. Okay, and you're just basically witnessing it and like basically paying it from your wallet. Like you go to the gas station and suddenly gas is more expensive, and like what the fuck, what the fuck. And like the thing is, like the guy at the gas station, he's just gonna say like, that's how much it costs, dude. Do you have the money or not? And if you don't, like, sit on a fucking bus, man. Like, why are you driving a car? Like, just sit on a fucking bus or like sit on a train and like use that, like if you don't have the money, like, it's fuck or walk, right? And like that's how it is for like the normal people, right? It's just like nobody asks you anything. Like you're just there to like put your hand in your wallet and like pay the required amount. And like if you don't believe that gas station, go to another one, you're gonna see the same prices, okay? Because why? Because like it's all been arranged like a year in advance, dude. You're too late. Like you're in the wrong place at the wrong time, and you gotta pay for it, okay? Because you were not there. You were not at the Carlyle Hotel. Like nobody fucking invited you. And
exactly. Yeah, no matter what you do, you're going to be behind the information game that's played by people that, right? It's like there's no way you can win the trading game if you can't win the information game. And if somebody else is making the decisions, they're winning the information game because their decisions are impacting the prices.
Yeah, and I would just, it's not even information, it's just pure like human complex, human like primary frustrations or primary, should say like from psychology, there's this like primary trauma, okay? Like every human being has a primary emotional trauma and they're basically using their life to kind of do therapy on that trauma. And like if you the only like I would say like way to have a decent like chance to predict the future is to study the psychology of the most prominent actors, which in this case is Vladimir Biden and the guy from China. I don't know what his name is.
Xi Jinping.
Yeah, exactly. So just do psychological profiles of these three people, and you can predict where the fuck you should escape to survive. because like that's what's gonna happen. Like, like whatever their primary trauma is, like obviously like Vladimir has God complex, okay? He wants to be the god of the earth. And then Biden, I'm not really sure, like he looks like a really like a guy who should be in a retirement home to me, like honestly. And there's a China person who I have no fucking idea about. Like I just know that he has like some kind of military kind of structure. Basically China is his like private company. And that's like really dangerous, man. Like if you have like 1.5 billion people working for your private company called China, like China Inc., that's like fuck, dude. Like they they can become even more like even bigger nut job than Vladimir. And basically I'm just thinking like I don't want to be here when that happens, like, because I don't know the guy from China, like I didn't play like whatever something with him, football or basketball or whatever, like he's not my friend, okay? He's some guy that has like 1.5 billion people in his team, and like that's scary to me, okay? Like honestly, that's scary to me, like that amount of power. And then like not only he has them in the team, but he has been kind of training them to think in this way, basically China, everyone who like we're gonna just copy shit from California, copy shit from the US, like steal their manufacturing processes, like everything or your know-how. And now they have like so much power and they have 1.5 billion people, and to me that's like extremely scary, okay?
Yeah, well, I mean, that's pretty much the situation. It's messed up. It is, the situation in China could be worse than in Russia.
Yeah, so I would say if you want to survive, if you want to make sure like your kids can ensure their existence on this planet, find yourself a China girl, okay? Like find yourself a China girl and basically like have kids with her, and those are your best bets on planet Earth for your offspring to survive. And the only other alternative is planet Mars right now. And that's basically, you are basically at the crossroads of like having kids with the China girl or like buying a ticket to Mars.
Interesting. So China girl, yes. Russia girl, no. Words of wisdom from Le Prestige.
Yes. Thank you so much. This was the new episode of the Forbidden Crypto podcast. We had our guest Sky here. Thank you so much for participating, Sky. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, and enjoy, and thanks to all the listeners.
Yeah, thank you, and peace out.
Peace out.